What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. It's your boy Al. I am so sure glad to be getting off. Glad to start my Friday. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Hope you're having a blessed one. Was interested in something I've been interested in a while, and that's the Wnba playoffs. They start tomorrow, or this weekend. I can't remember if it's tomorrow or Sunday. But the Wnba playoffs start, and a lot of people excited. And there's excitement in the Wnba that there hasn't been ever before, I would say. And a lot of people, of course, attributing the success of the Wnba to Caitlin Clark. She's coming to the league and setting the league on fire. Angel Reese is doing her thing. Asia Wilson has really had a historic year for the Wnba. But there is an unspoken reason why the Wnba and women's basketball in particular has all of a sudden gained an elevated level of popularity. A lot of people aren't speaking about. We know about these young ladies that I've talked about, that we've mentioned, but there's a big reason nobody mentions it. Well, some people kind of allude to it, and it's been mentioned by some that the people, the media has alluded to it in some ways, that is attributed or contributed to the hype and the rise in the popularity of the WNBA all of a sudden. And one of the biggest reasons why the WNBA has all of a sudden, outside of the young ladies that have performed this year, gained such popularity all of a sudden is because for a lot of people who would watch, who didn't watch, who would watch, the women of the WNBA, those who are coming into the league recently, have brought back or to the game, to its face, a level of femininity that hasn't been there probably ever. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the WNBA is getting more popular because it's becoming more feminine. And there are reasons for that. You must understand that being that the WNBA is becoming more feminine, the women are being more ladylike. I hate to use that term, but for lack of a better term, ladylike. They're looking more feminine. They're more beautified than they have been before, or they're more aware of their image than ever before. It's drawn, it's attracted, or brought back to the game male viewers that before were not interested. Just to play this thing back, just to give you kind of a genesis, because I'm old enough to remember the height of the WNBA. I'm old enough to remember how this thing all started. I told you guys how the Caitlin Clark thing all started. I clarified that. Let me clarify for you how the WNBA, how the whole thing went down. 1996 Summer Olympics, U.S. women's basketball team, U.S. Women's Dream Team, go to Atlanta and wreck shop, led by a little point guard, a little firecracker point guard named Dawn Staley. Also with Cheryl Swoops, Nikki McCray, God rest her soul, Lisa Leslie. Who else was on that team? Oh man. McGee, I can't remember her first name, but McGee, she was on that team. A lot of young or seasoned veteran women who didn't have a league in America to shine in came to that Olympics and just absolutely wrecked shop. They absolutely wrecked. Cheryl Swoops and those guys, they absolutely wrecked shop. Lisa Leslie was clowning, dominating. I remember McGee was a power forward. She was snatching everything off the glass. Nikki McCray, who passed away, she was doing her thing from the outside. Dawn was high stepping with the point, dishing, no looks. That team captured the imagination of the United States of America. Rebecca Lobo, also on that team. UConn star. That excitement of that team generated in the 96 Olympics opened the door for a women's professional league in the United States of America. And initially at the onset, people were excited, men and women alike. I remember I was just graduating college. It was a couple of years after the 96 Olympics. I was getting ready to graduate college. They were getting ready to start the league. I had this little summer job I was working when I was finishing my college degree. And I remember us, the fellas, were talking about going in during our lunch break and watching the start of the WNBA season. I think it was a Saturday it was starting. I was working that Saturday. We were all excited to go in and watch these sisters play basketball. And break room time came around, the first WNBA games. I was there for the first WNBA games, there for the start of it. Again, men and women alike, watching the games, excited about the games, we were watching. And what we noticed quickly in a short amount of time, what the male viewers noticed in a short period of time, was that the women players, most of the women players in the WNBA were very masculine, very flexy, very dude-like. And what we came to the conclusion of very, very quickly is that we were watching a bunch of girls with less talent than the men try to act like men. And that immediately turned a lot of men off the game. Because what we wanted to see, we were willing to watch a lower level of basketball, girls who couldn't dunk like the men, high fly like the men. What we thought we were watching, and what we got a glimpse of, what we had a sneak preview of, and what we thought we were watching was feminine women, soft women who had a competitive nature, playing basketball. Nikki McCray was very feminine. Lisa Leslie was very feminine. Cheryl Swoops at the time was very feminine. But you had women out there like Teresa Witherspoon, a whole lot of other women that were just very masculine, manly, looking like dudes, talking like dudes, dressing like dudes. And for a lot of guys, that turned us off immediately. Because we were like, if we want to watch guys, we'll watch guys who can dunk from the free throw line. We'll watch guys who can come up on one side of the rim and dunk, come up on the other side and dunk. We won't watch this. We thought we were watching feminine women, ladies, play the game. And so for a lot of guys, it turned them off. Now in Houston, it was different because obviously, if you know your WNBA history, the Houston Comets here in Houston won like the first 3 or 4 titles. Cheryl Swoops and Tina Thompson and Cynthia Cooper, who for whatever reason they talk about the greatest WNBA players, get left off the list, and she was like the most dominant player in the league for like the first 6 or 7 years of the league. For whatever reason, when they talk about the WNBA's greatest players, she's not mentioned, but she's on the Mount Rushmore as far as I'm concerned. So because of our success here in Houston, we had a little bit more excitement long term. But it wasn't long before guys checked out. Guys checked out of the game because we didn't want to watch a bunch of, for the lack of a better term, butchy women out there trying to act like dudes playing basketball. It turned men off for a long time. Long time. But in recent years, we've seen women return, or a lot of women not return, but more feminine women hit the scene. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is social media. With a lot of young ladies using their social media to make money, especially now that you can get paid in college, a lot of women are more aware of their image. They're also aware that what kind of demographics follow them. They're aware of what brings social media followers, what brings influence, what makes them influencers. And for a lot of women, their looks, the way they dress. And when you look at the women who have the biggest, deals from college, that are making the most money in college right now, that aren't pro, they're the feminine girls. Before they were in the pros, Angel Reese, Flangé, Haley Van Lillet, a few others that I can't think of right now, they were making the most money, and they were making the most money because they were feminine women who wore dresses, dressed up, dolled up, and what they attracted were men who thought that they were attractive, were attracted to their beauty, and young women and young girls who aspire to have their beauty. So their deals went through the roof. Some of these girls were millionaires, before they hit the league. And what a lot of other girls saw with that was, hey, I need to get my femininity on. I need to put on a little skirt and cute it up and doll it up, because I'm looking at Angel Reese's deals. I'm looking at Hailey Van Lit's deals. I'm looking at Flau'jae. Now, Flau'jae, a lot of Flau'jae's persona also has to do with the fact that she's an MC, a product of Jermaine Dupri's rap game, and so her music helps her as well. You also have what's the girl, the big girl from Stanford, the big tall white girl, really pretty, really feminine, making a lot of money as well. Big deal in college, a lot of endorsements in the pros. She's doing it as well. LA Sparks, she got hurt, she tore her ACL, but she's doing it big too. And so what happened was, because of the money that these girls were able to generate in college, and because of how much money they're generating in college is tied to their social media, a lot of them are more aware now that I need to be feminine. I need to put on a skirt. I need to put on a dress. I need to doll it up. I need to take some cute girly picture. You don't see a lot of these girls with boy clothes, with these ugly dreads, standing there looking like a boy. A lot of you go on social media and you see a lot of these posts, and it shows like the girls coming in, the women coming into the WNBA game, what they're wearing, and you see the girls strike a pose with their dress, strike a pose with their little skirt or their little outfit on, and then you see the other teammates that's still trying to do this boy thing, and they get no likes, no looks, and people just keep scroll right on by, because nobody's interested in that. Nobody's interested in that. Not only are men not interested in that, women aren't interested in that either. And then yes, people bring it up all the time. Caitlin Clark, how she's white, but she's straight, she's heterosexual, she has a boyfriend, a fiance, or what have you. And so people talk about that. Angel Reese, her boyfriend, or whatever she's doing with her boyfriend. You have Juju Watkins is, when she first came onto the scene, all she had on were baggy jeans, sweats, and all of that. But now you see her social media post is blowing up, and now you see her put on a skirt and strike a little girly pose, and do little things to be more feminine, because that's what sells. That's what's going to make the guys want to click that button, turn on the TV, and watch you play. They want to see a feminine girl. These little teenage boys, these little early 20-some-year-old boys, they want to see the girl that they got a crush on out there on the court, handling the rock, shooting. They want to see her, in her femininity, dominate the game. That was one of the things that was heightened the popularity of Maya Moore. She was a feminine woman. She would ball you to death, but she was feminine. So I think that's playing a large part into the popularity of the WNBA, the rising popularity in the WNBA. And what you're going to see is, you're going to see the WNBA continue to get more feminine. You're going to see the WNBA, because we know the indictment of the WNBA, or the rumored indictment at least, is that the WNBA is an overwhelming lesbian league, where women have actually bullied heterosexual girls. There have been a few cases of girls who say they've been bullied because they were straight, and over time, there's evidence that points to the fact that has to be true. There has to be some truth to that, because you see women who come to the game, they get to the game, they get to the league, they're heterosexual, they have husbands, they have children. Cheryl Swoops was a heterosexual, had a husband, had a child. Next thing you know, she's a lesbian. Candace Parker had a husband, was married to Sheldon Williams, had a child. Next thing you know, she's married to a woman. And just overwhelming, just Sue Bird and Elena Delle Donne, just one after another after another. But with these girls able to now get money in college, you're going to see the femininity just at an all-time high in women's basketball, women's sports in general. You're going to see the femininity at an all-time high. Because the fact of the matter is, this isn't a woman's sports issue. It's a watchability issue. It's not a woman's sports issue. People say all the time that men don't watch the WNBA because they're prejudiced against women. That's a lie. That's a lie. Men don't change the channel when they're watching the UFC and the women take the octagon. As a matter of fact, there have been several UFC cards I've watched. I've watched a ton of UFC pay-per-view cards where the women are the main event and men are all in. You know, we don't have this problem with women's tennis. We don't have this problem, again, with the UFC. And I will argue you, we just had the Olympics. I will argue you that the two most popular sports in the Olympics still to this day is women's track and field and women's gymnastics. But what do all of those sports have in common? The watchability factor doesn't change. Because we talked about in my last video about the WNBA how Caitlyn makes her game looks just like the man's game with her comparisons to Steph. But you watch the women's UFC, women's MMA, they kicking girls unconscious just like the men kicking each other unconscious. They knocking each other out cold just like the men knocked each other out cold. So the watchability factor doesn't change. The women on the track, the women in gymnastics, the watchability doesn't change. Same thing with women's tennis, the watchability doesn't change. Now, obviously, the women don't hit the ball as hard as the men, but when you're watching it, it's the same product, right? Also, with that, those sports also have this in common. The femininity level is at an all-time high that make the men want to watch. Men want to watch these feminine, beautiful women in track and field. I mean, it was a supermodel show this summer in the women's track and field, in women's gymnastics, in women's MMA, who have been the most popular women in mixed martial arts, the women who exhibit femininity. You know, Gina Carano, super feminine. Ronda Rousey, super feminine. You know, Valentina Shevchenko, feminine. She's very aware of, I don't know her sexuality preference, never see with a man or woman, but I know she is a heightened enough to know that on her social media, she dolls it up because she understands what sells. Let's say it all together now. Sex sells, right? If you're an attractive woman, it sells. And so, yeah, I see the WNBA in women's basketball is going to continue. The popularity is only going to go up because you're going to see these women more aware of their beauty, more aware of their fashion, more aware of their femininity. And as that climbs, the male viewership will climb. As the male viewership climbs, female viewership will increase, and that will climb. And you'll see this sport grow leaps and bounds. So, you know, it's not just about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It's about the fact that these women are becoming more feminine. They're becoming more aware of their looks, and that's going to add to the popularity of the WNBA. Just keep watching. You'll see the next couple of years. Let's keep an eye on Juju Watkins. Let's keep an eye on the next couple of classes that are coming in. Let's see what they do. Take a look at the women that are taking off, that are getting all the attention, that are making all the money as this game continues to climb, and you'll see. It'll be the women that are the most feminine. Cameron Brink, that's the young lady I was trying to think of her name, the young lady that went to Stanford. Big 6'5", tall, supermodel-esque, always feminine dressing. The girl who plays for the LA Sparks, who hurt herself, she's another one that was that uses her femininity and her beauty to increase her dollar. So that's going to continue. You're going to only see that climb. And if the WNBA wanted to know who to thank for that, thank the deals in college sports that allow women now to get paid in college, because they're going to use that. They're going to milk that. They're going to get their money. They're going to use their sexuality, their femininity, their beauty to get their dollars, and it's going to pay dividends for the WNBA. So I'm excited about watching the WNBA playoffs. Let's see what happens. Let's see A'ja Wilson. Let's see what she can do. That's another example. I forgot all about A'ja Wilson. Hold on, let me stop this because I almost forgot. A'ja Wilson, the most dominant player in the WNBA. You think A'ja Wilson? Now, you've seen A'ja Wilson is famous for her sexuality. I can say the way she dresses when she comes to the game. Her outfits are stunning. She always dressed to kill, coming to the game. If you think anybody who's watched the play, I was getting my wife's nerves because I was watching her play in the game, and Asia is very aware of the power of her sexuality. Very aware. She purposely hikes her shorts up, one short slit. She doesn't do both of them, but she purposely hikes her short all the way up her leg. Now, if you don't think Asia Wilson does that because she understands the power of her sexuality, she knows she's the best player bar none in the game, but she also understands the power of her femininity. She understands the power of her sexuality. Asia puts it on display along with her basketball skills. So she knows that that's going to put more dollars in her pocket. She knows that that's going to make her more marketable to a mainstream America that still likes to see feminine women. And the evidence is the way she is out there on the court with her shorts almost looking like bikini pants. So, and let's not take away from her. She is the best player in the game, and she will, at the end of the day, be one of, if not the greatest of all time, the way she's going. But again, she sees, she knows her femininity is important. She's putting it on display. Keep watching. You're going to see more Asians. You're going to see more Caitlins. You're going to see more Angels. Putting that femininity on display. More Cameron Brinks. And it's going to do wonders for the WNBA. Happy Friday, everybody. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. We're going to keep this coming for you. More videos to come. Have a good weekend. Peace.